But if you plan to take them up on that, let us know, because I think that would be a fun story to follow up on. All right, now let's say you don't like your husband anymore. You can't just fire him, but you can fire, and you should fire or cancel services that aren't living up to your expectations. Duquesne University marketing professor Dr. Audrey Guskey is back with us this morning to tell us how we can do that. Welcome. It's great to have you here.
Always good to be here. Thank
you.
Who
are we talking about, first of all? What kinds of services?
We're talking about anyone who provides us with a personal service. It could be someone who cuts your hair, does your nails, cuts your grass, cleans your house, walks your pet, babysits your children. Anybody who is getting involved not just with the service they're providing you, but also with your life. You think about your hairdresser, you talk about your stories, you share your life with them. The person who cleans your house is dusting your daughter's cheerleading trophies, and so you become very fond and you develop friendships with a lot of these service providers, and it's hard if they're not providing the service that you expect.
Sticky situations.
Very sticky.
So I'm assuming that along the way, of course, you try to resolve conflict or different expectations as the things come up. But if it gets to the point where you think this is just not getting through, this is just run its course, it's not working, where do you start?
Exactly, yeah. And what you want to do is almost like a coach in a company. If they aren't doing their job, like you said, you want to mentor them a bit and say, well, you know, you're not cleaning as well, or I don't like my hair a little bit longer, or my nails, you're putting the tips on a little bit crooked, or, you know, you say things. And then if they still don't look at what they're doing incorrectly, then you, in a sense, like Donald Trump, have to fire them. I don't know if I ever told you this, and I should know better than anybody.
You're starting with the finger with me. You can't see that on the sheets. She's starting with the "you're fired" finger.
Jen, I was fired by Donald Trump.
No.
I was on the semifinals for The Apprentice, and I was one of the final 50. So talking about firing, I am the expert in firing for at least the Pittsburgh area.
Wow, so you've been on that end of it.
I've been on that end. But getting back to your question, how do you actually fire these people? Well, you don't want to just disappear, because if you have developed a friendship and then you see them in the Giant Eagle or something, it could be very awkward. And so a lot of times you don't want to go into a hair salon or into one of their shops or stores and say something to them, because it could be bad for their business. So typically a phone call is probably the best way. Some people choose the coward's way out, maybe do emails or a letter, but at least at some point you should probably let them know and the reason, so that way they can help improve themselves.
And don't make up a reason, I'm assuming, because then that comes back to haunt you. Just honesty.
People have done that. They've said, well, I've decided to clean my house myself, or I've got a lawnmower on sale, I'm going to cut my grass. But you could get caught in a lie. So honesty typically is the best policy to have.
All right, where do you go from there? And I know we have a list, too, of things that you've been able to provide for us, so we'll be putting those up as you start to talk about them.
Yeah, basically what you want to do is, you know, if you've developed a friendship, then hugging and you know, that personal warmth type of thing is a good thing. You want to share that affection and let people know that even though I'm not going to be having you providing me the service, cleaning my house anymore, but yet I still want to develop that friendship.
How about the guilt?
There is a lot of guilt involved. And, you know, but as consumers, you have to recognize that you shop with your dollar. And so if you're not getting the best service, then you deserve to go somewhere else, and you should be expected to go somewhere else. And it may be tough, and it may be a difficult situation, especially if you've used someone for 10 or more years, and they have, in a sense, become a part of your family. But sometimes change is good, and it's time to move on to that.
We talked about the honesty factor, but again, the importance of that is...
Right. You really want to let them know the particular reason that you're dismissing them. And, you know, we've talked about these personal services, but there's also issues with cell phone companies and cable companies. And if you want to cancel those services, there's some legalities involved to that. So you want to document everything if you're dealing with someone that you have a contract with. You want to make sure they understand that you're canceling and dismissing them. And you want to just, if there's still issues and they're not letting you go, then you can contact Better Business Bureau, Attorney General, you know, different utility commissions
to back it up.
Absolutely.
And to stress again, really it's important to tell the people your intentions. Don't just walk away and pretend this has never happened.
Right, because then it does get to be a very difficult situation, and you do feel guilt throughout the way. And if you at least share your feelings and your disappointment and your dissatisfaction with them, then over time, then hopefully they'll improve. And who's to say you could possibly come back to them? But it is tough to break ties in a sense. Sometimes they say it's harder breaking up with someone who's providing you a service than breaking up with a boyfriend, because it's sort of, you've developed these relationships. But, you know, we should also say that relationships are very good in a service situation, because you go to your hairdresser, they give you free shampoos. The person who maybe cleans your house also walks your dog while they're there, or folds your laundry. So there's a lot of perks and extra benefits attached if you develop these these
You're building a
relationships.
good
And we do
relationship.
that, and most situations are very satisfactory. Yes.
Back to the breakup, though, part of it. What about legally? What do you need to do? I'm sure you need to take some notes to protect yourself in case anything should come up.
Right, yeah. Basically, you have to check what your contract is. If you do have a particular legal issue where you have some kind of binding contract, you want to make sure that that you get out of it. And maybe if you talk to the person, they may let you out of it. As I said, a lot of times with cell phone companies and cable companies, you're bound for a year and they will charge you a fee.
Okay.
But sometimes it's better to pay the fee and get out of it.
Bank issues, then? What about auto pay?
Oh, auto pay, exactly. You want to really keep track of that. You want to make sure that if they were automatically taking money out of your account and you cancel it, you have to go right to the bank, because a lot of times it'll still be going through. And of course, the cable company or the cell phone company isn't going to say to you, you're giving us too much money. And so,
Right, here's some back. And you're using words even when you're talking to me, cancel, disconnect. Those
right.
are the words that you want us to use
you
so
have
that
to be
there's
very
no
strong.
doubt.
I'm unsubscribing. I am quitting. You are fired. Is basically the bottom line in what you want to say.
That's a whole other story, though, about you. I'm going to get back to that someday with you. You
Oh,
and the
I'd love
Donald
to.
Trump
I'd love
situation.
to.
And you already mentioned to file complaints formally,
Right,
with the
right.
State Attorney General's office,
Yes.
Better Business Bureau
Yeah.
if need
If
be.
you've really had issues and they really haven't performed the way they should, and this is typically in a larger company, then you want to make sure that you document everything, you keep track of things, you contact people, and you spread out the word to the Better
Yeah.
Business Bureau and different
Well,
agencies.
and in that case, I think it would be easier in a lot of realms to handle the breakup, because then it's
you haven't
something
developed
blatant.
a personal relationship.
Yeah, and
yes.
it's something blatant. And if it's not risen to that occasion, though, and it's just kind of things that have been building up, that's when it gets a little trickier. So this advice is great.
I hope it helps a lot of your viewers.
Thank you. Thanks so
Always a
much,
pleasure. Thanks,
Dr.
Jen.
Gusky. Now, just ahead, how to clean your house and your